All right, no worries. I mean, you have a document here, so just have to follow this, okay? So it's not a big deal.
We do that on while running kernel update or
Yeah, go ahead and do that. I mean, we created a different ones, right? So bring up GUI hyphen upgrade and then run this command yum group install and then do this here. Let me put this in the chat, okay?
okay, sir.
Okay, so
Can you bring me a fork?
okay, so once you get the confirmation that it is completed, the more than likely you will need to restart here. So let's go ahead and restart. So this is a upgrade here. So it's gonna do like a system-wide update as well as it's going to install the GUI part. Okay, graphical user interface.
Can I interrupt for just a moment?
Yeah, go ahead.
I can't log in to Putty. It says network error, connection timed out. I tried it a few times and it doesn't do anything.
Okay. Yeah, give me your team viewer. Let me take a look.
Sure. It's 188 and password is I859.
Okay, can you start again, please?
I859 PG.
8G?
PG.
PG, okay. So what you might want to do is it says inactive, right? So go back to your server in the background. Okay, so practice, you're running on practice, right? So bring that up. So it's on the background. So you could close this. Just X out of this. And yeah, so you do IPA. Okay, so here this your IP is 10.0.2.5, right? No, you should be using 196.56.250. Okay.
This one.
Yeah, so go ahead and close this and bring up Putty again and connect to practice. No, leave this on. Sorry, close the Putty which is inactive.
How do I get my mouse back? I forgot.
Yeah, look on the bottom right of the screen right here. All the way on the bottom right of your virtual machine, it says right control. So that's the key you have to push. Right control key on the keyboard. There you go. Now you got it back.
And you said close Putty?
Yeah. Okay, launch putty again, and I want to see what you should do is yeah, okay, good. Yeah, click on practice and select load. Yeah, see that one is you have to put down 250, or you are using 103. 103 is not there actually. Yeah, change it to 250, 190 to 168, 256.
250.
Yeah, change it to 250, save it, and then you could launch or open it. Yeah, type 250 there. Yes, that the keyboard
And open.
accounting keyboard not. No, you didn't type it there, did you?
Yeah, I always.
Use the one on the top.
No,
Yeah.
it's there.
Yeah. Okay. Oh, okay. It's delay there. Yeah.
Yeah,
Save and open.
yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Okay. Now there you go. You logged in.
Okay, so that's it.
Yeah. So you gotta
All
have
right.
to go in there and check the IP address if. Yeah, it's possible IP address changes. It changes all the time.
Mm.
So now what
Yeah,
I'm
one more
gonna.
thing I didn't hear yesterday. Oh, yeah.
I'm sorry.
I said one more thing is that I wasn't here yesterday, so I missed everything. But I'll catch up on it. I'll watch the video later.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, if you want to do the group study, go ahead and do it. Just put it in the chat, and then, in fact, I what I'll do is I'll try to get other. I have one more batch here, and they are doing some group study there, so you might want to like join in there and do the group study. They are like
Okay.
2 months or 3 months ahead of this batch, but they could help you with the other stuff that what I'm doing here. Okay, so now what we did is we did a group install here, which is a major upgrade. So this is a major upgrade. Okay, so before we did this installation, look at the size here. The size of the hard drive here is previously, it's a full functioning operating system, and the size is only size is just about 2 gig, okay, 2 GB, and at this point it's a full functioning OS. So now I installed this here. So this GUI installation is a major upgrade. Okay. So now if I do clear, if I do uname -r, I still have this as a same as the old kernel here. So nothing, it requires a reboot actually. That's why it's waiting for. So I'm gonna do the reboot. So I'm gonna do init6. Today we're gonna go over the different run levels here. So you will understand what I'm doing here. Init6 and init0, all that. We already been using it, but I haven't officially talked about it, but I will do it today. So I'm going to log in here and come on. Okay, so if I do uname -r, now the kernel is updated here. Okay, you see the kernel, the previous kernel, you look at the number here, and this is the latest one which is available. There is one more available after this, but it's not ready for installation, so it's not in repository. So whichever one is the latest one, that means it's tested and stable, so that's the one you could use. Okay, next thing I'm going to show you is look at the size of the hard drive, and look at the size here. The size of the hard drive has dramatically increased here. So it went from 2 GB to 4 GB. So you could see that if you have 10,000 servers and you have extra 2 GB sucking up, you could imagine how much the size of the operating system, I mean the disk size, it will be used. Okay, so normally almost all the time in my environment we are not using the graphical interface. Okay, why? Because it's not worth it, and most of the time as Linux admins we just don't even know how to use it, and also it's not as intuitive compared to Windows. That's where the Windows is a champion, is where it's doing the things on a graphical side a lot better than anybody else. And next week we're gonna start the disk management. After that we'll do the user administration. Okay, so the size is expected here because we have the graphics in there now. Okay, I'll show you in a minute what all those are graphics. Okay, so now before that there is one more thing I'm going to talk about: the security packages. Okay, and the group packages. So give me 1 second. Door open. Okay, so this part is done here. The upgrade is done. GUI installation upgrade is done. Okay, now I'm going to talk about security updates. So it's possible you don't have to do the full upgrade, but at the same time you're going to have to do some security updates. Kernel update is considered a security update. Okay, over here I think I mentioned here the kernel update is considered a security update here. Kernel only update. Reboot. Kernel only update if only kernel update is required. Okay, here kernel update is considered security update. Okay, so if the company decides it doesn't want to do any other updates, but they would at least do the kernel updates and the security updates, okay, because this is really important. So if you want to do the kernel, only the security updates, all you have to do is you just have to do yum update then hyphen security. Okay, and let me hit enter here. Okay, it says no packages needed for security. 121 is available. So why is it saying no packages needed? Because we just did a major update here, major upgrade. What will happen is it will include all that in there. So actually what we'll do is, let me bring up this box here, and what I'm gonna do is update. We did kernel only update here, right? So let me bring that up. This one also have the IP address as 250. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to make it a dynamic. Which file I need to edit? For bound 0, I have to go into vi etc sysconfig network scripts, ifcfg bound 0. Don't worry about this at this moment. I'll officially show you when I'm gonna start doing the other copying this for other systems here. Okay, so I'm gonna do DHCP here. So we're not gonna be stuck with 250 here because we are cloning so many systems left and right. So I'm gonna say init 6.
I have a question. I'm trying to bring up my potty after doing the GUI update. It's telling me network. It's telling me network error. Network error. Connection timed out.
Okay, on the top of the putty, right click and then say reconnect or duplicate restart session.
Okay, restart session.
Okay, now it took random IP address 192.168.56.108. So this is good. So in putty, I'm gonna put
Yeah,
down. Yeah, okay.
it's still doing the same thing. Network error, connection timed out.
Um, go directly into the VM and see what is the IP address.
Okay.
Give me your team viewer.
It's 469-209-539,
Okay.
and the password is 7 I'm sorry, D4.
7D4.
No, 7D4. D as in dog.
For,
4.
oh,
D
D4.
7D4. R4P. 7D4 R4P.
Okay, I'm in. So bring your virtual machine first. Yeah, move it to the side and bring your virtual machine also. The one which is running kernel only, right? Yeah. So bring your machine to the front. It's on the bottom right, all the way on the bottom right. Yeah, that one. Over here, do IPA space A, enter. So your bounding is not set. So you could use 192.168.56.105.
Let me write that.
You minimize this. Yeah, in the host name type that
192.55.
168. No, 168. Remove 55.
You said 158?
168 dot 56 dot 105. Okay, and then you could name it and save it and then bring it up.
So I should name it save session as what should I guess?
Yeah, no, you want to do bound zero? Give it kernel only. Okay, yeah, save it. Now open it. Okay, there you go. Yes.
So why was I having? You said I didn't set my bond. Was I supposed to? I guess I didn't do something. That's why I was having that
Yeah.
issue.
No, you're not having issue. I mean, if you're having issue, you go directly into the virtual machine and see what the IP is.
Okay. Okay.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, it's a good practice to practice about bounding. Okay.
Okay, sir.
You should do
I'll work on it.
Okay. All right. So I'm gonna disconnect. So if I type in here, yum update security hyphen security. I think you could do a minimum security and this is a full security. So is going on to no packages needed for security. 142 packages are available. Okay. So it's doing the same thing. So let me do yum update hyphen minimal hyphen security. Okay, so right now we have up to date kernel here, right? So most of the time you're not worried about it. So as long as the kernel is there, you're in a good shape here, okay? Because the kernel has the image file for the operating system, and it loads that. I will tell you a little later what it all means for the kernel. And then before I move into the run levels, I'm going to show you a little bit, talk about the group packages. So there, it's possible that you could, what does combo means? If you go and order a meal, you could get a combo, right? So this is what the group packages is. It's like a combination of bunch of packages. So it's called group packages. And what is this? It's a list of packages which are grouped together. Okay, usually similar packages. Okay, so if you want to check what packages are available as a group, all you have to do is yum group list. Okay, so it will give you the list of group packages which are available. So in here, so environmental group, and remember, if you look closely here, this is the one we installed yesterday. That's why I used yum group install genome desktop. And then on top of that, I installed X11 and fonts. Okay, so I installed that as a part of a group, okay? So what you could do is, you could put something in here and install as a group package. Available environmental groups. So it will change the environment a little bit. Mostly this is going to be the environment for the graphical user, the one on the top. The one on the bottom are going to be something like the compatibility libraries and all these graphical administration tools. Oh, okay, there is like a security tools here, so we could use some security tools here. So let's see what we could do. Is you could actually get the group information from there. So yum list group, and you will get a list. Okay, so this is example. This is what we got here, right? If you want to see what packages are inside, what packages are coming in the security tools, all you have to do is yum group info. Yum group info, and then you type the security packages. So you have to use the quotes, security tools or something. Okay, I type it wrong here. Yum group info security tools. So in this, when I'm going to install the group security tools, is going to install all this here. It's going to install group ID security tools, description, default packages, skip security, and all the extra things you may or may not need. Okay, so this is for something for extra on top of operating system that you might require for your job function. Okay, similarly, let's see what else they have there. Yum group list. There is one more called development tools here. This is probably used by developers. If you are a software developer, you may use it. So you could do yum group info, and you could do you copy and paste it here, development tools. Uh-oh. So it will give you the list of packages that's going to come, that will be installed when you install that package, specific package here. Okay, so I'm not worried about this. This is like, this request you usually come from uh, this request usually come from the uh, not from your local group, from maybe from the different team. They want to do some development on the server, so they say like, hey, I need this, all these packages here. I might as well install the development tool, and then you will have all the packages necessary here. So what I'll do is I'm gonna go like this, and then I'm gonna put it here. Okay, so when you get this output here, all these things, it means something. A plus, uh, is there an equal in here? There is no equal. So let me tell you what this means here. Okay, so prefix. There are 4 types of prefixes here. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. This is prefix and this is description. So if you have like a minus sign in here, if you have like a minus sign, you're not seeing anything in here, but you may or may not see. If you see the minus sign, so a package is in package. So this means a package was not installed, and won't be installed as a part of group. Okay, the second thing you need to worry about is the plus sign. You see a plus sign here. Okay, so if you have a plus sign there, then so package was not installed. Was not installed. But will be installed when you install the group. Will be installed when you install group. Install as group. Okay, and third one, you have an equal sign there, you're not seeing now. So package is installed as a part of a group. Package was installed as part of group. So the system remembers if you have downloaded the packages individually, or if you have installed that package as a part of a group. So system keeps the track of that. Okay, so that's why the Yum is such a great tool within this. And if you have like a blank space, so the package was installed but not as part of the group. So here all these packages are already there. These probably came as a part of a operating system. Okay, the package was installed but not as a part of a group here. Okay, that's all you need to worry about. It's not a big deal. I'm not using it day in and day out, but that is something you should know. And if you want to really install it, it's a simple command. Let's do, you're looking at it here. If you want to install a group package, so all you have to do is clear yum group install. You have to use group install, and then in quotes you have to give it development tools. Close it and hit enter. You're done. It's gonna go through all that and then install it for you. All right, there is yes or no, so I'm gonna say yes.
Would you mind writing the command that we're running right now in the group chat, please? Because I wasn't able to, you went too fast. I wasn't able to type it correctly, so it's giving me error.
Okay. Okay, sent it. Did you get it?
Yes, sir.
So the system installs, it does the cleaning, and it's verifying it. Okay, it does those things. Okay, so now what you want to do is next thing would be to remove it, right? So what you have to do is before that, if you want to do update, maybe like 6 months from now you want to do update, right? If you want to update the group package, okay, very simple. Just scroll back up, yum group install. Instead of install, you have to do update. Yum group update, and hit enter, and it will go on to the repository and check if the update is available or not. If not, then it will tell you you don't need to update. So yum group mark install c man yum, no packages any requested group available to install or update. Okay, so that's the answer for you. Now if you want to remove it, all you have to do is remove it. Yum group remove, and bring the same line back up, remove, and that's it. Let me hit enter. Okay, so it's going to remove those packages and the size is going to give you, and I'm going to say yes and hit enter. Okay, so now it has removed the group packages for you. It's pretty simple here. One is the other one of the other biggest uh, one of the other biggest advantage of Yum is if you have like a package already installed and you reinstall it again, it's not going to break the operating system. Okay, so I've seen in my when I was working in Windows environment, sometimes if you reinstall the operating system or remove it, it may cause some problems. Yeah, I've seen that. I don't know about the new now, but previously when I was working in 7 environment, you just can't simply like go there and remove and unremove. It may cause some stability problems here. But with Yum and in especially in a Linux environment, if you even have the software and then if you like do it like 10 times, it's not going to damage the operating system. And one note here is there is no auto remove here. Okay, remember when you were installing the single package and if it had any dependencies, when you do a single command yum remove and the name of package, it will remove it, but it will not remove the dependencies. You have to use the auto remove command to remove the dependencies. Okay, but for some reason they don't have it available for the group install. So it's possibly because there may be some shared files that the system don't want to make any changes. Okay, so that's about it. Let's go ahead and move forward and I will talk about the run levels. So how the run levels work. Okay, so this is only specific to Linux environment, how the run level is working and all that. So let's take a look. Okay, so updating kernel only. Yesterday I was running this command, right? Awk command. I think it was in here. Okay, let me see if it's online. RPM-QA kernel. Okay, let me see this. Okay, so there are two kernels installed there, right? So we know that. But to set the default kernel, yesterday we set it to 1. Okay, so but let me go into my other class. Is showing up here. What is the difference? Awk-f $1 equals menu entry. Okay, here when you run this command, it will give you the list of awk position, list of hard disk unit default So run this command, list of installed kernels using awk command. So the way in the order it comes up is the default level here. Okay, actually it's breaking up. Okay, when you run this command, the first one is the position 0. So this is position 0. Okay, and here this one is position 2. Position 1 actually, and let's see if there is a position 2 also. Okay, 0 and 1. If it's the third one, and then it will go to this third one here. So this one, the one we have is a rescue mode here. So So the one we are looking at is a rescue media. I'm going to talk about that later here, not now. But here, when you run this command, if you have like a 3 installed, and if you want to make whichever one active here, you have to run the command here. Grub to set default, we set it to 1 here, right? If you do uname -r, this is the old kernel here. So now I'm going to make the new kernel default here. So what is the command? Grub to -set default space 0. Okay. Now when I'm going to reboot, the top one will be highlighted. If it's highlighted, that means that is the kernel it's going to use. You could interrupt the countdown and use whatever kernel you want at the moment. Okay. You see the kernel which is listed on the top is highlighted. So when the system is going to go into operating system, is going to use that kernel. Okay, there you go. If I refresh and log in here, and if I do uname -r, it's using the new kernel. Default kernel is set using the following. And you could do this also. Okay. All right, good. So I have all this covered here, and if I want change it to the new version. All right, I'm not going to confuse you when you're going to go through. Okay. Change it to new version. You have to type 0 actually. All right, looks good here. So let's move on to the run level. What run level is doing. And before that, grub to installing major. Okay, I'm gonna make a little note here. Insert below. Okay, where did it go? Okay, yeah, it's here. So if you want to run the grub config, I'll show this later here, how to use this here, okay, when we're going to work on the kernel parameters. But I think this is the time I should explain something a little bit about the grub config here. If you want to set the BIOS based or UEFI based grub. I'm going to explain what grub means in a minute here. Okay, so for BIOS you have to run this command. BIOS based. Okay, how do we know if the system is a BIOS based? If the following, if you have like a following folder is available. So if you go into cd slash boot and then you go to grub2 and then you have grub.cfg, okay? So if you have this file here, it's a BIOS based system. So right now I'm using a BIOS based system. grub2.makeconfig. I'm going to explain how to use this a little bit in a minute here, okay? grub2.grub.cfg. And if you're using a UEFI, anybody know what I'm talking about? UEFI based system? grub2.mk config -o boot EFI. So I'm gonna go back, clear the screen, cd, and I want to see if this folder exists. EFI and CentOS, and if I do ls here, if there is no grub file here, then that means this is not a UEFI based system. So what I'm going to do is, if you see this file in this folder, then it's a BIOS based operating system, okay? And if you see this file here, if you see this file in this folder, then it's a UEFI. If you go out and buy a new laptop, more than likely it's going to be UEFI. What is UEFI is, when you turn on the laptop, it's like it's coming up into the Windows mode right away, right? That is what it is, UEFI. It's not wasting time to go into and run through the post and all that. So it's kind of skipping on that. So let me see what is UEFI means. Actually, you don't have to worry about this too much here because you won't be working on a physical hardware as much. What is UEFI boot mode? It is essentially a tiny operating system that runs on top of PC firmware, and it can do a lot more than BIOS. It may be stored in a flash drive or motherboard, or may be loaded onto a hard drive network. Different PCs with UEFI will be different interface and features. You know, I would suggest don't worry about this now. I don't know why I put it here, but I think you should just be aware here that what this means here. I will come back to here when we're going to do the kernel parameters, okay? But anyway, let's move forward. I'm going to talk about the run levels here, okay? So this is like another major topic. So also, if you do cd dff and h, So here we didn't install the GUI mode here. We just installed a little bit extra development packages. So now you could see that the size is a little bit more. It used to be 1.8, but it's a little bit more than 2.1 GB. Okay, that's enough for that. But let's talk about the run levels here, okay? I'll explain you what run levels is. You don't have to worry about too much. It's very simple and easy. Okay, so what is a run level? It is nothing but a operating state. Run level is a operating state of a system. Okay, so if you have used Windows, you guys know what a safe mode is, right? I'm hoping everybody knows what safe mode is. Okay, so everybody knows what a safe mode is. I remember if you ever called tech support, they would have asked you to some series of steps that asked you to go into safe mode here. Let me see if I could find a picture here. So when you go in and troubleshoot, and then this is what it comes here, enable. These are run levels comparable to what we're going to learn here. Safe mode with networking, safe mode with command prompt only, disable. Actually, Windows has about 9 run levels. Okay, so it is the state of operating system. Okay, so how do you know which run level you are in? So you type who-r and it will give you the output. You're in run level 3. Actually, for this I'm going to shut this down, and then I'm going to use the one with the GUI here. The one with the GUI, I'm going to use this. Okay, so if you type who-r, or you could also type run level, or you could also see this is a new command, system ctl get default, and it's telling you it's a multi-user mode here. So I'll explain you what all this means now. Okay, so Linux has, this is independent of Red Hat. It's a general Linux term. Linux has 7 run levels. Okay, so I'm gonna make a table here. So we have 7 run levels here, right? So it starts with 0 and ends on 6. So I have a run level I have run level 0. Okay, and then the second one will be run level 1. Third will be run level 2. Okay, fourth will be run level 3, and fifth will be run level 4, and run level 6 is going to be run level 5, and number 7 will be 6. Why? Because we are starting from 0. Okay, the very first one run level is a shutdown mode. Okay, so the command to use the shutdown mode is init0. Okay, and what about the run level 1? Run level 1 is a rescue mode. Okay, so run level 1 is a rescue mode, and it is using a either rescue mode or emergency mode. Okay, I think these days they are calling it emergency mode. Okay, and it is init1. If you go init 1, then the system goes into the emergency mode, but it has no network in it, no network connection. All right, run level 2 is a multi-user mode. But in this here, it doesn't have NFS, means network file system here. So if you have like a network here, and then if you got like a network drives here, like here I have a network drive. If I want to be in the run level 2, I won't have access to network drives. No, without no NFS, network file system. Okay, we'll set up actually network file system in the course. And the one we have to deal is init2. And number 3 is multi-user mode with NFS. Multi-user mode with NFS, and this is the default one. So if you have any system, when you get this run level, usually the run level is set to 3. Okay, most system, almost everywhere in the world, every system is set to 3 here. Okay, that's the default one, but you could change it. I'll show you how to change it. And the command to do this is init3. Okay, and then the fourth one is not used. Fourth one is just sitting there for the future use. I don't know what would be used for. Fifth one is a graphical user mode. Okay, GUI. And the command is init6. Init5, sorry. And init6 is, we've been using init6. What do we use the init6 for? Anybody?
To reboot?
Yeah, very good. Reboot. So now if you look closely here, the one that makes sense is the default one is the one you could keep it as a default. When the system restarts, this one could be the default run level, and this one could be the default run level. It can be the 6. If you put it as 6, the system keep rebooting. It can be 0, the system will turn on and shut down. And these ones you have to physically enable it at the time of troubleshooting, then you really have to do it. Okay, so let's take a look here. So this one, I did a graphical upgrade right yesterday. So if I type init5 here, init5, the system is going to switch to the graphical mode. Just watch. Look carefully on the right side. Right in front of your eyes is going to switch to the graphical mode. It's going to take a few minutes. Okay, so here the system is switching to the it looks pathetic to me. I'm not using this here. It may come up for first time installation here. So it comes up like this. You just do this, do this. I don't want to share anything. Next, next, skip, and it's telling you to full name and username. Okay. I want to skip this. Is there a place I could skip it? Oh, look, you could change this too. So when the Mac operating system, when you launch in, this is what it is. Mac operating system is nothing but a Linux operating system, and it's heavily modified. The graphical interface is heavily modified on on the Mac. So let me go ahead and put this here, Zafar, and I'm gonna say next. Okay, it's asking for the password. I'm gonna say Red Hat. Okay, so it's gonna match the Red Hat 1 2 3 4 1 2 3 4. So I have to put in the complex password. Password does not match. Now it matched. I'll go in here next, and I'm ready to use the operating system. So now the Linux, I told you about it, all you're gonna be spending time only in a dark window. So what will happen is you also have an option to put it in the graphical mode. I never used it in a graphical mode. I mean, if you want, you could try using it. But if you get stuck somewhere, don't come to me. I can't help you with graphical mode because I really hated it. And yeah, it's in graphical mode. Something comes up here. Genome. I don't know what that means. But if you want to bring up something similar to PuTTY, you go in here, application, and the terminal is there. If you look at it, when the terminal comes up, it will exactly look like a terminal that would be in the Mac operating system, okay? So terminal, anybody has Mac? Okay, nobody has Mac. Let me see if my Mac is online. Okay, no, my Mac is not online. But anyway, what I'm saying here is, if you compare this with Mac, this is nothing but a Linux is running in the background here, okay? All right, so now if you still get here systemctl get default, it still says that the operating system is I'm sorry, not the operating system, but the default run level is still multi-user mode. Okay, so multi-user mode is the operating system here. So if I do restart, what happens is the system will restart, but it goes back into the run level 3 here. Why? Because in the configuration file, it's set to go back into multi-user mode. Okay, see, it came back into the multi-user mode here. Why? Because I'll show you which file is doing that. Okay, so the file that puts the system back into its default mode is etc let's see here. So if you go into cd slash etc system d system and you do ls here. It's too many files in here, right? So I'm going to do ls -l default dot target. Everybody take a good look and tell me what is the default dot target. What kind of file is that? If I do stat default dot target and it gives you this information here. So can somebody tell me what kind of file is this now? So this file is a soft link. Everybody remember we talked about soft link and hard link, right? So what is soft link and hard link? Soft link is not the actual link. Whenever the system is going to read the soft link is actually reading the connected soft link. So when the system is going to boot up, it's going to read this file, and that file is getting information from this file here. Okay, actually this is the file it's using. Okay, so multi So let's talk about it here. Default run level. Okay, so the command is systemctl. So we could set the default run level. Okay, so here default unless you change, I think. Okay. Unless you change the default run level, the system will boot into the default run level. Boot into whatever default run level is. So I type systemctl systemctl. Okay, this is a new command, guys. Systemctl get default. So it's giving you multi-user target. So right now, multi-user target is a default run level, which is run level 3. Okay, so let's talk about set the default run level here. So what we could do is systemctl set default. There is a command to change the default run level. This is the run level you have to run it. I mean, this is the command you have to run the run level. I mean, change the run level. I'm sorry. So, where is my mouse? Okay, this is the command. Systemctl set default is the command here. Okay, this command is used for changing default run level. Okay, so whenever you use this command, the symbolic link for the file etc systemd. Okay, so we are in etc folder, right? Okay, so let me get rid of this. So we are in this location here. So etc etc system d /system/default dot target. Okay, this is the file. Symbolic link for the file target file is changed to the file associated with file is changed to the file symbolic link for the file is changed to the file associated with the desired run level.
Question for you, right quick. On the previous line that you were typing, is that default dot target?
Yes.
Or because
Target.
Okay.
Default dot target. Good question.
Because I put that command in to change directory to that. It's telling me no such file or directory. So I put cd
No,
slash
take out default dot target because it's a file, right? You can't go into the file as using cd command.
Oh, okay. So take out the default.
Yeah.
And
then you should
Okay.
land in here. etc system D system.
Okay,
Then
yeah, that's what I'm saying.
yeah, then do ls default.target and it will come up for you.
It's still telling me no such follow directory.
Can you read me what you type from the cd command?
I put cd space etc/system/.
No. Before etc there should be slash.
Yeah, there's a slash there. cd/etc/system/.
No, system D.
System E.
D as in David. Look here. etc system D.
Oh, okay, that's what I'm missing. Yeah, that's what I'm
Yeah,
missing.
type it exactly the way it is. Everything changes, with the slash or a wrong letter.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, so it's system D. Oh, that's okay. That's yeah. I was
You
just
know what? Let's take a good 15-minute break today, and then we'll continue here. Okay? So everybody needs a break. So break
thank
starts
you,
now
sir.
for 15 minutes. Okay? I'm gonna pause recording.
Thank you, sir.
Remind me to start the recording. Hopefully I won't forget. But yeah, the break starts now. So the recording is on. Okay. Let me know when you guys are ready. I'll start. Okay. I think I should start now. So the file, that is the default file here. So now the run level is gonna worried about the only we don't have to worry about all the run levels here to set the default, right? So the only run level which makes sense to set it as a default would be run level 5 and run level 3. Run level 1 and 2 is a troubleshooting run level, so you're not going to keep it in there forever, because in the first one network is not available. The second one is going to be no NFS, the network file system won't be available. Okay, and number 6 and 0 is you can't put that in. In fact, if you want to get some fun out of it, go ahead and try to do that and see if it's going to work. Okay, so now the change is associated with the file desired. Okay, so the desired run level 5 run level files are sitting in this folder. Okay, sitting in this location. Okay, so how do you know which location is there? You could directly see here, it's sitting in this location, lib system D system. So there are a lot of files in here, so we're not worried about that. So the only file we are worried about is multi-user target and what is the graphical target? And graphical target. So we are worried about these two targets here. Okay, these two files. So most of the time you are only setting default either multi-user or graphical. Okay, so there is run level 3 or 5. Run level 3 or run level 5. Okay, so let me clear the screen. So why is this file being used? This file during the boot, during the system boot. So during system boot process, there are a lot of things are happening when the system is booting, okay? One of the activity is for the system boot up is to check the run level. So when the system is booting, it will check this file here, default.target file, and based on that, whatever that file is pointing towards at that moment, it will load that run level, okay? Okay, so either 3 or 5. So what I'll do here is 4, 5 here, right? So main file read during system boot is this file here, right? This is the file the system is going to read. Okay, so when we do systemctl set default, okay, this command will change the symlink. It will change the symlink to either one of the file. Either one of the file here. So if you're doing systemctl multi-user.target, or graphical.target. Let's take a look here. So I'm going to go down here. I'm going to get systemctl get default. So right now it's set at multi-user, right? So now I'm going to change it. Systemctl, I'm going to use set default, and then give a space there. I'm going to type graphical dot target. Okay, when you do this, in fact, it will give you a message here. It says it removed the it remove sim link and actually removing it and creating all over again. So you have to read here what it's doing. Okay, it removed it and it created this new target here. Previously it was targeting 2. It was going when we did stat, right? Oh god, it's why is it not? So we'll come back to that again. Okay, now what I'm going to do is I'm going to restart the system, and then before that, if I do a systemctl get default, graphical is set as a default now. Okay, so I'm going to do init 6 is going to reboot the system here because I'm telling you to do so. So now it went into the default multi-user mode. Now it's going to go into the graphical mode.
Okay, I didn't get the last one you did when you set the default to graphical target. I put the same command in there. I'm not sure. Maybe I messed something up again, but I don't think I put system. Oh, okay. I said system. See.
See, it went into a graphical mode. That doesn't mean you can't connect using putty. You still could work using putty, okay? So the graphical user is this file. Okay. And if you do stat on this file here, it will tell you what it is. Okay. So the file is pointing towards the graphical now because we asked it to change it to graphical. Okay, now let's change it back to the default. Systemctl get default, that's graphical, set default, and then space multi-user dot target and hit enter. Now it's telling you that it has changed it to multi-user target. Okay, so Okay, now if you type systemctl get default, it's gonna show that, and then if you do stat default target, now it is showing a different target here. Okay, so here I'm going to change it to so this is a pretty smart way to do this here. The system is going to set to read this word, but each time whenever it's changing it is going to actually use the appropriate file with it. So if I do a restart here, what is the operating system I'm going to expect here? It's going to go into multi-user mode because I changed it back to multi-user mode. Okay, so it's going to go into the multi-user mode here. Okay, if you stay in multi-user mode, that's all you need. It is a full functioning operating system. It has everything you need. Okay, you don't need to be in a graphical mode and fooling around with it. But maybe like 1 or 2% of your system is going to be in graphical mode. And let me see here. Multi-user. Set the default run level. Okay, everything looks good here. So okay, all right, so this topic is over. Any questions here? Okay, all right, no questions means then we'll go into the system boot process here. Okay, so this is interesting also. I'm going to show you how the system is actually booting up. So this is system boot process. Okay. I'm gonna put you on mute here, buddy. All right. So let's see a system boot process, right? So when the system is booting here, a lot of activity is happening here. So let me restart the system here. So when I do init 6 here and hit enter, the system is going through bunch of stuff here, like BIOS initialization is happening, and so in that moment here, like few seconds, bunch of thing happened here, and then it came up, and then it selected the boot, which kernel you need to load from. So it selected that one, and then also it's doing a lot of things in the background. If you push the escape key, you could see all this here. Okay, so let me explain you what happened here. So system boot process is also called a system initialization or boot process, simply boot process. Okay, so so the system goes through the following steps before OS is ready for the user. Okay, so what does it mean here? So let's take a look here. Okay, the very first thing is when you push the power on the system here. Okay, the computer is powered on. So the moment the computer is turned on, what happens is it reads the BIOS. Okay, so we talked about BIOS earlier. BIOS is what a small chip on the BIOS stands for basic input output operating system. It's a little chip right here. It's a little chip right built onto the motherboard here. You have to have a little chip here where the moment you turn it on, it will kick off the system check. System check software is sitting in there. Okay, it's called post. So the computer is powered on. It reads the BIOS. Okay, BIOS is it is a physical chip sitting on motherboard. Okay, and then BIOS stands for what does it stands for? Basic input / output operating system. Basic input output system. And what does BIOS do? BIOS performs the post. This little software performs post. Okay, performs post, POST. Power on self-test. Okay, so what is post doing here? Post is So the computer with the motherboard includes a special chip referred to as BIOS. BIOS also includes a test referred to as post power on self test, which will ensure the computer meets the requirement to boot up properly. Uh, is a process performed by firmware or software routines immediately after a computer or a digital electronic device is powered on. The result of the post may be displayed on the panel. The output of a next. Okay, I don't like any of this here. So it checks the system health here. Let me put it that way. BIOS perform the post. It does a system health. Hardware health. System hardware health. Did you guys ever had in your life that when you turn on the computer it start making like a beep noise, like a loud beep noise, like beep beep beep? Back in early 2000 to mid 2000, you used to hear those things, but it still is doing it. But most of the time, if you have like a long beep, it used to be a memory problem. We used to get a lot, but now it is not as prevalent as there. But it's still BIOS and power post is still there. Okay, so now what is happening is perform the power on self test. So system hardware health check. Okay, that's it. When the BIOS is done, it passes the control to then BIOS passes control to the bootloader, to the first stage of bootloader. Okay, so this piece is informational. What is bootloader? Bootloader is bootloader sits in master boot record. It sits in MBR, master boot record. Master boot record. It sits in master boot record. So it sits on master boot record, and it's on hard drive. So MBR is a little partition here, little. It's only like 440 bytes, and it's like code. It's a little code here. It holds that information in there. Okay. So master boot record is telling where to kick off the operating system. That's all it is. Master boot record on hard drive, and bootloader has two stages. Okay, so bootloader has two stages. Okay, so first stage of bootloader, it reads that, and then first stage of bootloader has two stages. First stage, it receives the control from BIOS and it passes control to second stage. Second stage has a lot more activity going on. To second stage of bootloader. Okay, so this one is informational. Second stage of bootloader resides in /boot partition. Folder actually. Okay, now remember when we talked about the directory structure, I talked about /boot, right? Okay, I'll prove that I did that. I'll go up here. This week what I'm going to do is I'm going to make a lean command copy. You don't have like all these graphics and everything. All you have is just commands here. You could look at it, start putting commands, and actually what I'll recommend you guys is just look at the commands and start putting in there. Okay, don't worry about it if you don't understand it. Use the command, go to next command, and do that like 3 or 4 times every week. And then when you have questions, ask me the questions. Okay, I think this document is getting out of control, and some of the things I'm going to get rid of it. I'm going to create a different document. That document will be much leaner, smaller. All you have to do is look at it and start typing the commands in your putty. That way you will grab a better understanding. Okay, so let me know if that sounds a great idea or not. So /boot, it contains system bootable files here. Okay, if you delete the boot partition, the system is in a great danger. Okay, so let's go into boot. If you go into boot and if you do ls here, okay, now look what's in here. Can somebody tell me what is this? This is our kernel. This is our previous kernel. This is our active kernel right now. So our kernel is sitting in the bootloader here. It is very important. If you kill the kernel, then operating system, you have to reinstall the operating system all over again. Okay, so we'll actually, before the end of class, I'm going to try to destroy it and see what happens here. Okay. So the first stage of bootloader passes control to second stage of bootloader. Second stage of bootloader resides in boot folder here. Okay, this is the informational line. Okay, so second stage of bootloader of boot loader loads the file name VM linux linuz. Okay, whichever one is the active file here. Okay, when we install the kernel, at the same time kernel install this thing here with it. So it is this is like, it's a big file here. If you do ls-l actually, let me extend this here. So these are very important boot files here, and if you look at the size here, how much is this? No, that's a rescue mode. So this one is so 30 megabytes, right? 35 megabytes. If you do ls-ltrh, it gives you H stands for human readable here, okay? Which one is the latest one? Here, the one on the bottom is 31 megabytes here. It's actually an image of an operating system, okay? It's gonna kick that off. Okay, so the second stage of bootloader is kicking that off, okay? Kicking that off means it's starting it up. Bootloader loads VM Linux kernel image. Okay, and also extracts it. It's in the zip file mode. Image I'm referring to this as a zip because it's compressed. So also extract it, the content of the file. Okay, so it's also doing this file too. Which file it's also messing around with is the image file and the VM Linux file. Okay, this file. Actually, this file is getting so the bootloader initializes this file, and this file in turn initializes this file. So there are like several chain of commands happening here, okay? Not one file is doing everything. So that file, what it does is it extracts this file here, init RMS file, initialization RMS file. I should look that up. It's been a while. What is RMS file is? Okay. And then this is the top file, the kernel Linux file it initializes this, and also it's gonna initialize the image also. So VM linuz kernel file VM Linux is a image file or kernel file? Give me 1 second here. Okay, VM Linux kernel, not image, file. Kernel file. And then this is a VM Linux extract. So this file is messing around with two things here. It's doing this, and then VM Linux file is also, while it's extracting, is loading the drivers for the hardware. VM Linux kernel file also loads the drivers from the initramfs image. So multiple things are happening simultaneously, okay? That's a boot process. And the kernel files start the first process of system D, SYSTEMD. Okay, So the kernel file starts the first process of systemd. So now this is informational. Now systemd is in control. Okay, now what we're going to do is we're going to deal with the systemd process here. Well, I'll talk about what D stands for. It stands for daemon, but I'll say that I will explain that a little later. Okay, so what does systemd do? It reads the configuration file. Reads the configuration file. Files from /etc systemd directory and also it is doing the default target file. While there it also reads the run level file, which is etc. Okay, now you should be all familiar with run level file, right? Now the systemd is the little software is running in there and is reading this file here. It's going to read this file here. At the moment, this file is set to boot in the target. So when it reads that file, it knows that it needs to load that system into default.target. If it's the default.target is pointing towards graphical, then it uses the graphical mode. So whatever file is set as either multi-user or graphical, or okay, whatever it uses is, while there it reads the run level file, so whatever is in there is default, it will load that as it will load that environment. Okay, it will load into that run level. Run level is loaded based on this file. Okay, and lastly, it executes etc rc.local. So that means, let's go into that folder, cd etc. Actually, it's a file, I think. So if you look in here, So what is happening here is this file doesn't exist actually. It will, at the moment, it will lock that and lock that environment in place. So what will happen is, if it's a graphical environment, it will give you graphical, and if it's a CLI, then it will give you CLI. Okay. All right, that's it. I mean, in the interview, you will definitely get the question. Almost any interview ever I had, they will ask you just to throw off how deep you know in the Linux knowledge, just to see if you are really into Linux or not. They will ask you in the interview. It's 100% possibility that the interview person will ask you the boot process. Okay, if you explain this, okay, then you will make him speechless. Most of the time you will get the job. Okay, so make sure you understand this, play around with this. Okay, whatever we did up here, the more you play around, the better it gets. That's all it is. I mean, you just have to find some time. What I recommend is, don't find like 2 hour time every day. Try to find like half hour, and then work on it, and then get away from it. Find half hour early in the morning, half hour at night. That should be good enough. And then try another half hour during day. If not, 1 hour should be good. I recommend 2 hours, but 1 hour should be good enough. Okay. So what I did was, I found this image here. Linux system boot process. So I found this here, but for my other class, I made it some changes in there. So this is a very good picture actually. Okay, so the power on self test happen. It loads MBR. Okay, then it passes control to grub. I mean, MBR has grub in it, and grub is nothing but VM Linux kernel. Extract content and loads the necessary driver modules, and then starts the first init process, and it goes through reading this, and all this is happening in a fraction of. So from the time it's restarting, from the time it comes to the CLI, all this is happening here. So let's see how long it's going to take. It's happening in the background, and if you push escape key, you could see what is happening. It's doing all that. It's loading, extracting the files, loading the drivers and everything. Okay, so the system was booted up in a 45 seconds. Okay, all this process takes about 45 seconds here. Okay. All right, good. What time? We still have good 15 minutes. Okay, good. So what I'm going to show you next is, so I'm going to show you how to break into the system. When you go for the when you're going to go into take the test, what will do is they will provide you the system, and you have to break the password and then complete the task. Okay, so they will not even tell you you have to crack the password. I'm showing you right now. So this is officially from Red Hat. Okay, so we'll see here. So very first thing you have to do is restart the system. Okay, so restart the system. So very first thing you have to do is log in. Okay, you don't even know the password, right? So what you do is you go into machine and then do reset. Okay, everybody go ahead and do that. Okay, and when the countdown is coming up, push any key to change the countdown or stop the countdown on the keyboard. Okay, so this will not work with putty. Okay, this will definitely not work with putty. So what you have to do is this is called a password recovery. The system password recovery. Password recovery for root user. Password recovery for root user. Okay. So what is the password recovery? Okay, give me 1 second here. So once you're in here, select the first one, and so even before that, what you should do is Let me capture the screen actually. Reboot and interrupt boot using any key on the keyboard. To stop the countdown. Okay. Then what you got to do is this screen comes up, right? So I'm gonna take a screenshot. So when this comes up, you are in good place. So down on the bottom it says push E to edit the mode here, right? So here it says press E to edit the selected item. So whatever is selected, the first one, push E as in England on the key on here on the VM. Okay, one more time, it's not going to work in putty. Okay, and then using the arrows, go down where it says keep going down here, and then the screen will scroll up and look for this line here, Linux 16. Okay, look for that line. Okay, so let me capture it. Look for the line and then go all the way to the end of the line and type rd.break.
Would you mind going over that again? I'm lost on how you got to this section.
Where are you now?
I'm at the part that says CentOS Linux 3.1s at the first rebooting page. The first one you snipped out.
Push E as in England on the keyboard. Down on the bottom it says here. Look at the screenshot on the left here. It says E, right?
Yes, sir. I've pushed it.
Okay. Now use the scroll down arrow key on the keyboard. Okay.
Okay.
And then keep going down where it says Linux 16. Stop right there.
Linux 16. Let me see if I can see that. I don't see where it says Linux 16.
Right here. See? Do you have a similar window like this?
Oh, you talking about the one on the left or the one on the right?
On the right.
Well, I've already pressed the E on the one on the left. So now I have the one. No, I don't have the one on the right. Let me see, because I can't see it that well. Let me go back up. Okay, the one on the right on mine, it says set parent CentOS Linux 3.10.01-1127-19. And it says load video, set GF, and payload.
Okay, yeah. You're in the right place. Okay. Now use the arrow key on the keyboard.
Yes, sir.
You follow me like this. Keep going down, and you will see a line that says Linux 16. Give me your team viewer.
Okay, I see it now.
Okay.
Linux 16.
When you're at line 16, push the end key on the keyboard.
End key.
So you will jump to the end of the line. Actually, it's like 2 lines here. But it's all single line here, showing on 2 lines.
Okay, I'm at the end of the line. It says UTF-8.
Very good. Give a space there and type rd.break. Just wait there. Don't do anything.
You say RD dot break.
Yes. You see on the screen, just like that.
Man, these screens are so little. I can't see. Would you mind typing that command in the chat because I can't really see the screen that well?
It's just RD. After
Uh huh.
UTF-8, make sure there is a space there.
Yes, sir.
Type R as in Robert, D as in David, then a
Okay.
period,
Okay.
then type break, BREAK.
Okay. Great. Thank you.
Okay, that's all. Just wait there, okay? So now let me capture the screen. Yeah, I think I need to edit this screen. Okay, here what I need to show you guys is this line here. Let me get a bright color. So you have to be at this line. Okay, and then you're typing in rd.break in there at the end of the line. Okay, so now on the keyboard, okay, this is important. On the keyboard, hold on the control key on the left side of the keyboard, not on the right side of the keyboard, okay? It's really important. So hold on the control key on the left side of the keyboard and push X as in Xerox on the keyboard. Okay, I'm going to hold the control key on the left side of the keyboard and push X as in Xerox. You know what, I think we're going to have to stop here because I got to go somewhere. So I'll restart this again next week. And please go and try to practice as much. Group practice will be really nice, but don't wait for more than 2 people to join. If 2 people could start practicing it, go ahead and do it. Don't wait for the 3rd person to join. You never know if they're going to ever join or not. So the good idea is do a group practice. If not, if you're doing on your own, make sure, don't hesitate to put the questions